Amador Mendez, go ahead and introduce yourself, and let's just start from the beginning, however you want to start.
Thank you for having me. I'm very honored to be on the show. You know, been listening for a while.
Thank you.
And yeah, you guys put on a great show. So my name is Amador Mendez. I had some experiences early on in my life, but I wanted to, you know, start it off with something that happened to my father before I was born, when he was a little child. He was living in Mexico. He lived in a ranch up in the hills in Michoacan, and he followed who he thought was his sister around in the wilderness, and was lost for like a whole day. He was found the next morning. He was found in a cave where there was a predator animal, like a tiger or a lion or something. I'm not sure. I don't think it was a lion. I think it was like a tiger. And so they searched for him all afternoon, all night, and then found him in the morning. And he told them that he was following, his sister. And so that was something that was really weird. He said that she would spread her arms kind of like to move the brush away, and it would part the brush, the whatever, the grass or whatever was in the way. And that I just thought that was really interesting. Something, some kind of entity that kind of led him through the wilderness and kept him safe, from the predator that was out there. So that's pretty interesting to me.
This happened out in Mexico, you said?
Yeah, in Mexico.
And he said it was a tiger?
No, well, there was like a tigress that lived out in that cave where he was found. So she would like that animal would hunt, the livestock and stuff like that out there that they had, and he was found in that cave. But I mean, I guess they didn't see that animal there at that time when he was rescued or whatever.
Oh, okay. I just asking because I didn't know I don't think there's tigers out there, so it must have been some kind of rare one or a big mountain lion, because there are mountain lions out there.
Yeah, some kind of predator. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it was
something scary though. I get it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing that ever happened to me when I became old enough to have my own room, the first night I was sent to my room, told to go to sleep on my bed, and I was really scared, really anxious about it. It was my first night, being in my own room, so I didn't really get to sleep. But I do remember that was the first time when I went that, and the only time actually, I saw the Hat Man. I didn't know there was such a thing before. I just saw like the outline of a shadow person with a top hat kind of thing, like a fedora style hat. It reminded me of the back in LA, they had these street watch signs, like where they had a guy with a trench coat and the hat, and that's exactly what it looked like. It told me that it was watching me, and I couldn't sleep. I ran out of the room. Huh?
No, I'm just saying, because I just thought about that. Now I remember those little signs with the little hat, the guy. Yeah. I just never connected that until you told me. I just completely forgot about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like I said, I never knew that there was such a thing. My parents were like, "Oh, it's a bad dream. You're having a nightmare or whatever." Though I know that I wasn't, because I wasn't sleeping. But I never knew that it was an entity that everybody else had seen before, and that it had its own name and everything. So that was really crazy. It kind of made some kind of crashing noise, and then it kind of left what I remember is it left like an imprint on the wall in the corner, and then it went upside down. Like it looked more like a axe when it turned from facing regular way to turning upside down. And I just ran out of the room, and I told my parents I couldn't sleep in that room because there was something in there, and it was scary. So they switched me to a different room. And growing up, I didn't sleep in that room at all. Then also, so I had this one really crazy experience with sleep paralysis, and I know that you guys have covered that a lot on the show, and I really enjoyed those episodes. But this one time, I was a teenager. I was living in Los Angeles. I pretty much spent a lot of my life in Los Angeles, and it was a weekend where my parents and my sister had gone to TJ because it's close enough, 2 hours away, that you can just drive for the weekend, and they would come back on like Sunday afternoon. I was by myself at home. I was kind of like bored, and I was just laying in bed, and I guess I must have fell asleep. And I felt this ringing, and then I felt this like vibration in my chest. And I remember clearly, like I can still see the face. It was an old time doctor, like back when they had those like reflectors on their heads to like shine the light on you or whatever. It was one of those guys, and he had a big drill, and he was drilling into my chest. And I felt it. I was shaking. I was like, it felt like I was really getting drilled in my chest. And I saw his face, and he was making like this crazy faces and this maniacal laugh. He was laughing, and then he would. I don't know if you've ever seen the House on Haunted Hill movie, where that doctor would shake his head like really fast.
They move all weird. Yeah. Oh wow, that's very scary.
That shake. Yeah, he was doing that and just like laughing, and so I tried to get myself like to move, and I couldn't move at all, and I was being pressed down into my bed, and then so I finally was able to like get out of it, because I concentrated all everything that I could concentrate on my foot and try to get to move as much as I could, and then like kind of like kick until I kicked myself out of it, and I just ran out the house in such a hurry that I didn't grab my keys, and I got locked out of the house. I was by myself, and I got locked out of the house, and I had to call like a locksmith because I wasn't gonna stay outside of the house the whole weekend until my parents got back. So I had to pay for a locksmith to open the door for me and get me back into the house. But it was a very like vivid like dream, I guess you could say. I saw that guy, and it was just really creepy. It was one of the craziest times. I've had sleep paralysis other times, but I think that one's the ones that's the one that was the most intense and the most like the being able to see something like that, because other times I can't move, and like I'll either like pray or try to kick, and it'll stop. But that time was the craziest that I saw the face guy.
What did he look like? Did you have like, he's an old guy, white guy, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was an old white guy, in a doctor's, like the old 20s era doctor's outfit.
That's weird.
It's
interesting.
And he did that face shaking where he was just moving really fast, like faster than normal, humanly normal. And it was just it was very terrifying. And then the fact that it was like his drill was like actually like I could feel the drilling in my chest. Like I could feel like I was shaking because of the drill bit turning or whatever. And I was being pressed down onto the bed. Like it felt like I was imprinted into the bed. You know how they show the commercial for the memory foam when they put the hand down and you can see where the hand was at? Well, that's how it felt like on my bed. Like I was being pushed down into it, like with some strength. Also, okay, so then I used to go to parties in downtown LA, and met some friends. And this one time after a party, I went to a friend's house, and there was his room had like a couch right next to the entrance to the closet. The closet didn't have a door, but it had like the bead curtains or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
so
yeah. Those like kind of like that shaman type of witchcraft little bead doors.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, kind of like in the movie Predator Part 2, the little yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Those are old school, man. I don't trust I don't trust houses that have those bead doors, dude.
Oh yeah. Well, now I know not to do that too, because
yeah, hell no.
It was it was a crazy experience.
You're probably
so I
drinking
sat down
chicken blood over there or something. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I sat down next to the bead door on the couch, and we're just chilling, and all of a sudden I see a black cat, or what I thought was a black cat, jump at my chest. But nothing ever hit me. I just saw it coming at me, and I'm like, oh, I reacted to it, and everybody else reacted to it, and then the beads were just going crazy, like the cat actually jumped through them. And I didn't see any animal, anything, and then I'm like, what the heck? What was that? And then the guy that lived there was like, oh man, I didn't think that they would mess with you. I'm like, who would mess with me? He's like, the spirits that live in this house. I'm like, what the
Yeah,
heck?
dude. What did I tell you about those beads?
Yeah. And he was he proclaimed to be a witch. So
well, really quick, let me give you some little information on these beads. Okay, a lot of people use them. I've seen those beads in a lot of old movies, like Compton movies and stuff like that. All the people have them in their homes. But I don't think people really know exactly what those are. Now, the reason why shamans and witches use those, they take their doors off and they put those beads on, because if a spirit walks by, they know what's in there by the beads moving. So that's exactly why they have those beads. Did you know that? Well, that's
no, I did not know that.
Well, it makes sense now, right? They have these beads everywhere.
Yeah.
And every single door they replace, so they could see where the spirits are. They're their room, they're leaving the room, coming in the room, etc., etc., etc. That's why when I see those beads, I'm like, bro, if they have any kind of knowledge of what these beads are, and they put them in their house, I'm out.
Yeah, I should have known. Well, I wish I would have known, because that's crazy. Yeah, the beads just went crazy, and like I said, it looked like a cat to me. Like it was just like a black blur that just came at me.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's crazy. And yeah, he's like, oh, all nonchalant. Oh, I didn't think that they would mess with you. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, the spirits that live in this house. And his room was red.
Oh,
like,
God.
Blood red painted walls.
He's probably a vampire or something. It's weird.
I don't know. But he definitely he was definitely open about his involvement in the occult stuff. So at the time I was like, I was like, well, whatever, as long as you don't mess with me, if you want to believe whatever you want to believe, go ahead and do that. But just keep me out of it, type of thing. But yeah, no. That was a really crazy experience. And also, so I used to, go to parties in downtown LA.
Me too. Hey, really quick, I just want to know what areas, because I used to live in, it's funny, the audience doesn't know this, but Amador here used to live in Palm Springs for a little while, right?
Yeah, I did.
And then I'm from India, but Coachella Valley, Palm Springs, same thing. But I don't know if you knew this, but we lived in LA for a short time, but we're from out here. You know what I'm saying? We have like the same thing, but opposite lengths in the city. And I used to party out in Compton, Gardena, Torrance. What else? Down the valley. It's crazy out there, man. I've just seen so many violent stuff happen. But yeah, curious to where you were at.
So that time I was in Pacoima in San Fernando Valley.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been to San Fernando. Okay.
Yeah. That was where that happened. And also thinking back in Pacoima, I also had another friend who was also, they were in the same crew type of deal. His house, whenever you had, I don't know if you're, the glow sticks,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Glow
whenever
parties.
this house had the craziest effect. So also in this house that I'm referring to now, it's also in Pacoima. It was actually down the street from the house where that thing jumped on me. They had protection spells inside of the house. So kind of like they were trying to keep something in the house instead of like keeping it out of the house.
Oh God.
I always thought that was really weird. Yeah, they had protection spells inside to keep anything, I guess, inside. I don't know, or that's what it seemed like to me. Because I would walk around and I would see like those sticker protection spells things on the walls. And this house, whenever you like spun like a glow stick in like on a string, when you try to do tricks with them, instead of like the glow stick emitting the light right away, there was a space between the glow stick and then the trail. So I thought that was really weird, and I was told because the house is charged with energy, so that's why the light doesn't act normal. Like that same glow stick, you take it outside and spin it around, and the glow stick leaves a trail immediately. But in that house, when you spin the glow stick, the glow stick would pass through, and there was a pause, and then the trail of the glow stick would show.
Oh wow.
Which I thought that was really weird. And that guy that lived there was also into crazy occult things.
How'd you get involved? Like, how do you meet? Like, are you hanging out with a bunch of people that are into this stuff? Because that's two in a row, buddy. That's two houses in a row.
Yeah, it was the same crew.
Okay.
We met at a party. And then I was living in Sun Valley at the time. So they were, close by, and we just, kind of like hung out more because we were, close in we were both were me and the girl that I was living with were, living in the valley, and they were also living in the valley. So whenever we would go to parties, like we would go together because we would like carpool. So that's how I got involved with those group of people. Oh. In the party scene in the LA rave scene.
Whatever happened to those people? You still in touch with them or?
No, I lost touch with those people a long time ago because there was a lot of things that happened that kind of made me break the connection with them. I kind of ended up in a like in UCLA mental health facility after hanging out because a lot of stuff happened, and
wow.
and yeah, I just needed a break from those people.
Jesus Christ, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. You live and learn,
Yeah.
So yeah, at this place where we used to party a lot in downtown LA, it's originally was the Globe Theater. We used to know it as the Orion. And this place was really, really weird. I was told, by some friends that the people that worked at the theater before, the actors and all that, they were into dark, the occult things, and they used to do rituals there. So they would tell me that, and in the basement there was just random holes in the walls, and you couldn't really see because it was the lights are off. There's only whatever party lights they put on. And I was told that people get pulled into those holes and just and are never heard of again. And I thought it was kind of like you're probably just lying, whatever. And then I don't know why it always gave me that, and I've went down there in the basement and kind of like explored a little bit because I was friends with a lot of DJs and stuff like that, and people that are promoters and stuff. So we took kind of like a little shortcut from one end of the theater to the other through the tunnels down there. And that place always gave me the vibe of I don't know if you remember. Have you seen the Constantine movie?
Yes,
where he goes.
The one with Keanu Reeves, right?
Yeah, Keanu Reeves. Yep. Okay. Yeah, he goes into this club, and it's like one style of club, and then he takes a door, and he's in a totally different club.
Oh yeah, where there's all like those demonic people. Their eyes are all glowing. Yeah, I remember that scene.
Yeah. This place gave me that kind of feel, and there's one time, since I was friends with DJs, there's one DJ was gonna perform at this party, so we showed up early, to help them out, set up, put up the props. I built a cage for the people to dance in and things like that. So there was the floor, the regular floor where everybody was, the main floor, where you go in through, and then right up there were some stairs towards the back, and you could go to the second floor. Second floor had like couches and stuff, like a lounge area. And then above the second floor, like was a third floor, or what I thought was a third floor, right? My friend, the DJ, was up there putting some props and stuff, and he's like, "Hey, come up here and help out." And this and another thing that this DJ was also, he actually said he was a satanic person.
Wow.
He was.
Hello?
Yeah.
Sorry, you're breaking up there. Start again where you said the DJ was a Satanist.
Yeah.
Start right there, please.
Yeah, he was a Satanist. He told me he was he was into some satanic stuff, and I was just like, well, you know what, like, just keep that away from me, like we're still chill, but just like there's I'm not into that type of stuff, so just whatever. So anyways, he was in the third floor. He told me, "Hey, come up here, come help out." I was like, "All right, for sure." I'm like, "But how do I get there? Because the stairs only go to the second floor." He's like, "Oh, you have to go out to the side of the building, and there's going to be some stairs there. Just come up and help out." I was like, "All right, cool." So I walked out to the side of the building, and saw the stairway. And the stairway was really, really dark. Like, I tried to walk into it the first time, and I felt like just uneasy, and like I felt like, I don't know, like I shouldn't be here. And I just jumped back out into the light, and then I'm like, I'm not gonna be weak, I'm not gonna punk out, and I'm just gonna go ahead and go. I'm just gonna run up there. It's only 3 floors, so okay. I went into the darkness again. I closed my eyes because I couldn't see anything anyway, so I just closed my eyes, and I'm thinking, okay, let me just count the stairs, count not the stairs, but the floors. Let me count 3 floors. So I'm like, okay, 1 floor, 2 floors, 3 floors. Open my eyes, and it was completely hit, like the darkest I've ever seen. Like, and then it felt like I was like in a box, and it was like right on my, like the wall of the box or whatever was right on my face, to where it felt like my voice didn't carry at all. Like I would be yelling at the top of my lungs, and it felt like my voice was barely just coming out of my mouth and then not going anywhere else. And so I was like, what's going on? Like, I should be already there, and they should be able to hear me. So I'm like, okay, well, let me just keep going. So I was holding onto the handrail and just, again, counting the floors that I would go up. I was counting the floors that I was going up, and I lost track of how many floors I actually went up before my friend was able to go, like, I guess he was like, well, where's this guy? And opened the door, and some light was above me. It was like about 3 floors above me, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, I already went up more than 3 floors, and it's still 3 floors over there. I'm like, hey, what? I'm like,
that's wild.
Yeah, it was like, I felt like maybe, I don't know, Like maybe I went into a different dimension, or I have no idea, because I went up about 20 floor. I don't even know. Like I lost track, because after the third floor that I had gone up in those stairs, I was nowhere even near anything. It was just completely dark, and like the sound wasn't moving. It felt like it was really, really still in there. Like the air felt different as well. It was really crazy.
So really quick, this staircase that you went through, I'm just trying to picture what's going on here, because I just like to do this kind of thing. So you come outside this building, right? And this building from the outside it looks like it's 3 stories total from the outside. Like you would say it's roughly that big.
From the outside?
Yeah. How big did it look?
No. More than 3 stories, but since it was a theater, it was like a lot of it wasn't like it was not like an office building where every floor was connected. You know what I mean? Like all.
I get what you're saying.
Like it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't all taken up by.
So my question is that you couldn't have walked up 20 flights of levels, because it's not 20 stories, right? It's about what, 10 maybe.
No.
8 stories. Yeah. Or something. Okay, that's my question. So when you went up this staircase, is this staircase in a hallway where there's there's a building above you and you can't see the sky? Is this staircase start from the outside and go into a building? How you know what I mean? So I'm trying to figure out how you couldn't see absolutely nothing.
Yeah, definitely. It was a door that whenever there was parties, that door was closed. Like those double doors were closed.
Okay.
So it was an enclosed. It was an enclosed staircase.
Okay.
It was not like on the outside, like you couldn't see the sky, because you're in like part of the building type of thing. It was like there was walls around it and everything. So yeah, you couldn't see anything like skywise or the side of the building. You're in the building still, kind of, but the entrance to it is on the outside, kind of like service doors or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I get you. I just wanted to see what's going on. Did you ever make it up there to your friend?
Yeah. So he finally opened the door and was like, "Hey, where are you?" And I'm like, "Bro, I'm down here." And I'm like, how the hell? How many freaking levels is this? And so I went up and finally made it up to the top, and helped them out with whatever decorations we were putting up there and stuff. But yeah, like from the inside of the building, it's right above the second floor. Like there's stairs to go to the second floor, and that's where the couches are. And you could even like possibly jump up and touch the bottom of the third floor. But from that stairway, I just, like I said, I lost count of how many stairs it even took. How many floors it took to get up to the third floor. But when he opened the door, he was still about three flights up, because I was able to see, finally some light came in through there, and I was able to see, a little bit of what was around me. But it was the craziest thing. That's something that to this day, like, just when I think about it, like, it makes no sense to me. Like, how could I have walked up so much and still hadn't even gotten to the floor that I wanted to get to?
Yeah.
So that was a crazy thing that happened there, as well as there's one time I was again hanging out with that group of friends, and this one guy comes up to the friend with the bead doors at his house, came up to him, and they were having some conversation and something like that. And I guess, they knew each other from the other scene, the occult scene or whatever. I don't think that they were friendly. I think that they were actually like, I don't know,
like
enemies.
Like two cults against each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know that. That's also true though. Like, in the Bible, it says there will be many antichrists that will come in my name, or many will come in my name, claiming to be, I'm God. But that all to me sounds like, because all these different cults, okay, they're all, I don't care what they call themselves, they're all demonic Satanists to me. I don't care if they're worshiping a goddess, or it's all demonic to me, right? And
Right.
from what I heard from talking to people who've been in cults and the things that I've read in over a decade is that every single one of these cults are trying to raise their own antichrist. You get what I'm saying? Like mine's going to be the one, mine's going to be the God, you know, or blah, 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 blah. I'm the one that's pleasing the God that's going to bring our savior. So yeah, there are factions that all, even though they're all doing the same thing and they're probably confused and don't know they're doing the same thing to the same God, but they're all trying to raise their own antichrist.
So like their own,
yeah, they're all trying to get, they all think they're going to be the ones to bring the antichrist. All these different cults, they think, no, we're the ones that's doing it the right way. No, we're the ones that's, you know, blah, 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 blah. We're the chosen one type of thing.
Yeah.
But they're all a bunch of pawns and they're all going to get, have a big surprise. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. So this guy, you know, comes up to us and I'm laying on the floor, of this, you know, but where the second floor where the couches are and the, you know, the lounge area is. And, yeah, so they were discussing something. I don't know what it was, but it was, you know, something in that side of the conversation. So, then I was looking up at him. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the Angel shows.
My Dominic might know about that, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, Buffy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah. So this guy's face changed for like a split second in front of my eyes.
Into what?
Into like something that looked like demonic.
Oh, wow.
Like that. Like that's the best way I can explain. Is when the Buffy the Vampire Slayer vampires return into their demonic self, because they had a human face and then they had a face that they would use, you know, whenever they were doing their demon things, you know, they're biting people or eating them or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, it changed, like kind of like he blinked, like, you know, but when they say that, you know, these reptiles, they blink and then they turn into, you know, their reptilian selves and then they come back to human form really quick. That's what it looked like to me. And he saw me and he noticed that I noticed him morphing. And then he gave me this evil, like sinister, like look. And I was just like, what the heck is this? Like, what? He noticed that I noticed. So if it would have just been me, you know, like, oh, you know, you're just seeing something, and he wouldn't have known that I've seen it, you know? How would he have known that I'm tripping out over here or something, you know? Or that I just, you know, imagined something or something. He knew that I saw him. He knew that I saw his face, his demonic face, I'm going to say, you know? He saw me, noticed that he slightly changed his face a little bit, and I couldn't say anything. I was just like in shock and just like frozen, and I'm just like, okay. Like,
wow, that's insane. See, dude, I have a big mouth, man. I get myself in trouble in that situation. I would literally say, what's going on with your face, dude? That's literally something that I would say, you know, I couldn't be able to just stay quiet.
When he gave me that look, I knew I needed to not say anything. Like, nope, I'm not saying a damn word.
You got to put the armor of God on, my friend, and baptize him with those hands, baby. You know what I mean? That's what I would have done. That's scary, though, dude. That's really scary. Reminds me of that movie Lost Boys. I've seen that. Their eyes kind of look different. They kind of get the sharp teeth, that little quick change. Yeah, that's the way. That's what I pictured. The Lost Boys kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, when he left, I told my friend and that friend with the Bead house is like, he's part of, you know, he's also into, you know, the occult stuff, and he's, you know, he's my enemy and this and that. I'm just like, what? I'm like, oh, that's the tension that I felt when you guys were talking, kind of like, oh, we're being cordial because we're out here in the open, but, you know, we really don't like each other. That's the feeling that I got, and then him saying that was just like, yeah, that's exactly what happened, you know.
So
he probably did.
Your buddy's friend, his enemy, was literally like a demon. Is that what you're saying? That's one hell of an enemy to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's this guy that doesn't like you? Just a demon. That's all, you know. That's pretty crazy, man. That's pretty wild, dude. That you have a lot of stories, man. This is getting pretty crazy. You're hanging out.
Yeah, I lived a crazy life when I was younger. um, yeah. He basically, I feel like he did that morph to like intimidate my friend, or like to show flex on him, kind of thing. Like, oh, like, I got this power, like, or whatever.
How did your friend react to it? Was he just like, "What's up? Like, what happened?"
He was just cool about it. I guess he didn't feel threatened by it.
You
maybe.
know why? Because your friend probably got some demon in him too.
Yeah,
he's probably like, "You want to see my demon?"
I'm very positive that was the case. Because yeah, it was just some crazy stuff that happened, and we used to go to places to try to, like, like ghost hunting type of thing. There was some places that were supposed to be haunted, and we used to always go to them and try to see what we can see out there. So they were definitely into some stuff out there. This let's see, so that's what happened in LA. Then when I moved out to Palm Springs, I was living in this apartment building, and in that apartment that we used to live in, this one time it was me and my ex-wife. We were dating at the time, and we were alone in that apartment. We were watching TV, and the lights, we had there was a dimmer switch in that apartment, and those lights that turned on, they turned on like slowly, like building up, and then turned back down. So somebody like turned the the dimmer slowly from off to full blast, and then back down to off. And I was looking right at the dimmer. There was like nothing touching the dimmer, like nobody there. We were alone. We were alone in that apartment, just watching TV. But that was like the craziest thing. Like the lights turned on and then turned back off, and then we were living with her brother, and he had the bedroom. We were living in the living room, and since he was gone for the weekend, we were just like, you know what? Let's just go to his room, and let's just sleep in his room tonight, because that was crazy. Like, the lights slowly turned on and turned back off. And at night we would hear like a ringing or a whistling or some kind of weird noise at night. That would make you feel like, even my ex-wife would say that it makes her feel like she should investigate, like, what is that noise? But we didn't, because we knew that it definitely was nothing good. If it's trying to make you go look for it, it's probably trying to set a trap for you or whatever it is. So we never did anything. We would just hear the noise and the ringing, and it would sound like it was coming from the wall. It would sound like it was coming from outside, but like somewhere between the apartment. Like, I don't know. It was really weird. We never did investigate that either. And there's one time, at the time I was looking for a job. I still hadn't found one. So what I would do is I would, wake up in the morning, and they would go to work. Her and her brother would go to work, and I would, just help around the house, like do the dishes, sweep, whatever chores needed to be done to help out, because I wasn't working at the time. So I didn't want to just, be there without doing anything. So I would help out with chores during the day. And like I said, we would be living in the living room, and this one time, very, very clearly, I remember hearing her brother walking down, the corridor, from the stairs from the parking lot, walking up to the door. I heard the jingling of his keys, and him unlocking the door, coming into the door, closing the door, and he was on the phone. He was talking to somebody. He's like, "Oh yeah, I just got off work, blah blah blah," whatever you talk about when you're talking to somebody on the phone after work. And I heard him clearly come in the apartment, walk next to me, because I was sleeping on the floor, I felt the steps of him stepping, next to me, going towards his room, and I heard him sit in his computer desk, in the chair that he had for his computer desk, and I'm like, what? I overslept. Like it's already late. Like he was already back home. Like what's going on? Like, oh man, I should have been up already. Doing stuff. Like I feel kind of lazy. Like, so I'm like, all right, well, let me just go ahead and get up. And I got up, walked over to his room. I was gonna be like, hey, what's up? How was your day or whatever. When I look into this room, into the chair, nobody's there. Nobody's in the apartment. When I clearly heard him come through, walk by, felt the steps, heard his voice, and I heard him like drop himself into his chair, and then there's nobody there. So I was freaked out. I was like, what the heck is going on? I could have sworn that he was just here, so I just started, making myself busy, not to think about it, but like it was the craziest thing that I could have sworn. If I would have opened, like I just thought like what if I would have opened my eyes? Like what would I have seen walking next to me if I would have decided to just turn around and open my eyes and say, hey, what's up, when he was walking by, instead of, after he sat down? Like, would I have seen anything? Would it have been him? Would it have been, I don't know. Like, it was just a crazy experience that I had there. And it was some crazy stuff that happened out there in Palm Springs. That apartment was definitely weird. You would get the feeling that somebody was in the bathroom when there was nobody there. It was a crazy experience living out there.
Sounds like some type of like a time slip or some kind of portal, or you were seeing or hearing something that happened in the past was going to happen in the future. That's really weird, man. I mean, lights going down and low, that speaks like a electromagnetic field or something. Maybe that place is a portal, is something. I mean, because this desert, there's a lot of it's basically one big burial ground for the natives.
Yeah.
Who knows what other creatures were living here in the desert before them?
Right.
Their rituals, going back to the giants. And but yeah, that's a crazy story, man. Do you remember what street this was on?
Yeah, North Villa Court. It was right by the tram.
Oh wow, yeah, up there. Okay, got it. That's wild, man.
Yeah. That place. It was definitely. You could feel something there. And I felt it many times. And yeah, that was the craziest one. I mean, that and the lights turning on were just like super crazy. And we moved out of there because my ex-wife's father was sick at the time, so we moved back to LA. And we didn't go back out there. But yeah, it was just really, really crazy out there. And we felt like, you could feel something in that house, in that apartment. They would say that they would also, hear things and feel things. Like it felt like somebody was in the restroom, that they would feel like somebody's in there. And then they would knock and open the door and nobody's there. That there would sound like somebody's in there making noise, and then there would be nobody in there. So that was really weird. And I forgot to mention in the desert. I also went to a desert party once, and we were in the desert somewhere. I'm not sure if it was. I don't think it was Joshua Tree Park, but there was definitely Joshua trees there. And me and my friends, we decided to explore, just go out towards the desert, just to see what was around. We saw a lot of like cool things, like these little mounds of just like little sand or whatever. Like it looked like a mountain, but like miniature. And we were just walking around, and then we see this person, what we thought was a person, standing out far away, out in the desert. And we're like, oh, well, maybe it's just somebody else that decided to come explore, out here in the desert, from the party. And it started running across the desert, like from the right, where we're standing, we're looking out to the desert, and it was in the right side of where we're looking. And then it started running, and then it started gliding. Like its feet were not touching the floor, or if it even had feet, it was just like a shadow person, and it just zoomed across the desert like extremely fast and like hovering all the way to the left side of where we're standing. And we're just like, what the heck? And everybody saw it. It wasn't just like, oh, I just imagined it. Everybody saw it there. It was like 4 of us, and we all saw it. And then it like went up to like a Joshua tree and kind of like try to blend in with it. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe we're just seeing things, like maybe it's nothing, it's just our mind playing tricks on us or whatever. And then all of a sudden, whatever it was peeked out from behind the Joshua tree and like kind of like bent down to see if we're still there. And that's when I knew, and we all felt it, like this is not something natural. We should run, because we started, first we started, kind of slowly backing up without turning our backs to this thing, because you're not supposed to. They said you're not supposed to turn your back on demons or whatever. If it's a demon or whatever it is, you're not supposed to turn your back on it. So we were just slowly, backing up, and then it peeked out from behind the Joshua tree and to confirm if we were still there. And that's when we're like, nope, run. So we just took off and ran all the way back to the party, and we safely made it, thank God. But I don't know what that was, but it was scary. This shadow person that started running and then took flight and hovered across the desert plain and hid behind a Joshua tree. Like, yeah, that was kind of intense. It was intense, to say the least. And like I said, we all saw it. It wasn't like, some of us were just having too much fun, or whatever it is. No, we all saw it, and we all saw the same thing, and we all just ran. So that's another crazy party going experience.
It seems like all these things happen at parties, bro. Whether you're setting up a DJ for a party or you're at a party, man, maybe you shouldn't be partying anymore. Yeah,
no, I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, man.
I gave up that a long time ago. I got with my ex-wife, and we actually met at a party too, but we stopped doing all that years ago. Yeah, but you meet a lot of interesting people at those gatherings. So definitely, and actually that land belonged to a reverend. He owned that land and allowed us to throw events there.
A reverend, you said?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was some kind of a church.
I have an opinion about that. After all the things you told me, I don't think he's a reverend of God, the one of Jesus, at least, because I'm pretty sure reverends don't rent places out for people that are going to party and do things that are ungodly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, makes sense.
He was probably a priest, all right, from priest of Satan.
That's probably. That you know what, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, come on. I don't look at if someone is a priest or a pastor and they're supposed to be one way and they're doing something else, you're probably not going to believe that they are what they are.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's very true. I just never. They always just called him Rev Joe. So
Yeah, he's probably a revenant, is what he is.
yeah. So yeah, that was and my friends, you know, the main, you know, guys that would say that they're, you know, into the occult, they were even like, I don't know what that could have been. Like one of my friends, the one with the glowing the glow light thing that had the protection spells inside of the house. He was like, oh, it might have been this one demon that hangs out with, you know, around loud noises in the desert. I'm like, oh well, I don't know. Whatever it was, like we took off. We didn't want any part of that to find out what it was or what was going on. Like and yeah. Also, there's one time I was with this different girl when I was living in San Fernando Valley, and I came home late one night and, you know, kind of it wasn't, you know, I was just, you know, living with her, but it wasn't like my house. So, you know, she was already sleeping and I couldn't, you know, get into the house. So I was just like, all right, well, I'm just going to hang out until the morning time and then go in the house. And something like grabbed me while I was waiting outside to go into the house. It grabbed like my side. And I wasn't sleeping. Obviously I was sitting on the curb waiting for, you know, sun to rise. But like I had my head down on my hands, you know, I was sitting on the side of the curb and my hands were on my knees and my head was on my hands. And something grabbed me like really hard, like on my sides, like on my back, like on my sides. And I just jumped up and like, what the heck is that? I thought somebody was like trying to mess with me or something, and jumped up and nobody was there. So I was like, what the heck is that? Like, I know I wasn't sleeping because I just barely put my head down, and then something just came at me and just grabbed me. And also at that house in San Fernando Valley, we saw this black, you know, we're laying in bed, talking. It was, you know, we're about to go to sleep, but just, you know, talking or whatever. And we saw this black orb come out of like the corner of the room. And it was dark in the room, but this darkness was darker than dark. And it was like a black orb and it was moving around. And we're just like, what the heck is going on? And that freaked us out. And then this other time, like a white light beamed out of a bookshelf thing, computer desk bookshelf. It had like a shelf on the top. You have your computer desk on the bottom, and you know we would keep books there and all that. And this light just beamed at us from in there, and we're like, "What the heck is that?" Like, it's nighttime. We're laying down, and you know this light just shines at us. It's kind of like somebody took a picture, and it lit up the whole room. So we were like, what the heck is going on? I'm like, no, you know what? There's got to be something in there that emitted that light. Like there's no way just light just came out of nowhere. So then I even there was a piece of wood that was right behind all the stuff. I'm like, maybe something's behind this wood. So I broke down the wood to see if there was something behind there, and there was literally nothing. So we never knew what happened. Why all of a sudden there was like a light that just lit up the whole room at night for just unexplained reason. Just something just lit up. It was like this really, really bright white light. And then, you know, those guys, they had said that it might have been like a portal. Something was trying to suck us in or something like that. I was like, I don't know. But nothing happened to us. We just saw the light and it came on and came back off, and that was it.
Wow. What do you think that was? What do you think? Like an orb, like just like a sphere looking thing?
The black thing or the light? Because the light, I didn't see like a shape to it. It was just like really bright, and it kind of because it shined right into my face. So I don't know. I wasn't able to see like any shape other than the direction where it came from. Like I didn't see any shape to it. But the black thing, yeah, it was definitely like a black orb, and I've seen that black orb since then. When I was living in LA, I also saw that black orb, and I was like, "What's going on?" Like,
yeah,
like what is that?
That thing's following you, bro. I really think that he's following you. I mean, how are you seeing all this stuff in the same different cities, different locations? You know what I mean? You're kind of experiencing the same thing in all these different locations. So this is just my opinion. You know what I mean? It could be, I'm just talking, but from what you told me, you're hanging around with a bunch of occultists, Satanists, Luciferians, whatever you want to call them. And when you're around that, there's gonna be these demons are gonna attach to you. What's that noise? Hello, you still there?
So yeah.
Oh yeah, we're talking about how I said, like, I think a lot of this is because you hang around with these occultist kind of people, you know what I mean? And then, like, these demons see something they like in you and they attach themselves to that. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I agree with you. I don't doubt that that's what happened at that time with the beads. That something attached to me.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it jumped in you. Sounds like.
Yeah, it jumped in me. Yeah, that's what I feel like it jumped in me, and because it jumped right at my chest, and I didn't feel anything, and it disappeared. So I'm pretty sure it jumped into me, and after that, I mean, after partying and stopping the partying and all that, I went through like a big depression type of deal. So I don't doubt that might have attached itself to me or followed me or whatever. But like I said, I don't try to give it too much, attention. Like I just try to, I try to listen to the word of God. I to go to sleep, I always listen to like Bible readings, this I found this Christian ASMR. I don't know if you're familiar with ASMR. I found this channel on YouTube that reads the Bible, but like in a whisper voice. So I like to go to sleep to that. I pray all the time. I try to keep myself close to God, and it's crazy because I was raised by my mom. Rest in peace. She was really religious. She would be always reading, helping at church, reading, helping with reading or whatever they needed at church. She would always be there, helping out at church, and she would listen to the church on her phone all the time or on TV. Whenever she would always be listening to the mass on TV or on her phone. So I was raised really in church, which I think is what kind of burnt me out of it a little bit, because it was just always we were always there, we were always part of it. I was even like an altar boy. I was raised Catholic, so I would help the priest with the ceremony and all that. So I was very, very familiar with all that and really into the church. My mom wanted me to become a priest, but I told her nope. When I was a little kid, I was like, no, I can't do that because I can't have kids and I want to have kids.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But she always wanted me to be a priest. She's like, oh, you should be a priest, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, no, I can't do that. I want to have kids and I can't not do that.
You could be a pastor.
Yeah.
There you go.
That maybe her wish would come true one day and I could become a pastor.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that maybe, whatever that thing was, saw that I was, I had been very religious and then kind of like dropped the ball a little bit, after, my rebellious years, being a teenager and just being tired of always being at church. Like, oh my gosh, like I already know everything that the priest is going to say. I already know the readings he's gonna read. This Corinthians, this, and like I already knew all the stories that they always tell. The what's that called? The guy that wants his inheritance and then he goes and wastes it. The prodigal son. Like I already know all these things. They always read the same things. Like I'm tired of going to church. Like so. At the time when I was, hanging out with those people, like I wouldn't go to church. I wouldn't do any of that stuff. I was like, okay, I'm old enough now. I can do my own thing. I'll do what I want to do. I'll go party and, do this and do that. And I didn't really, do much to stay close to God at the time. So it must have seemed like, oh, this guy, that this is a perfect guy to attach and mess with because he's turning his not necessarily turning his back, but kind of like leaving that in the back burner type of deal. So yeah, I wouldn't doubt that it was something that did that, and when I talk about these type of things, like things happen more like I know this is probably nothing. It's probably just my imagination or whatever, technical errors that happen or whatnot. But whenever I go to especially at my office in Laredo, Texas, whenever I go to the restroom, the sensor for the when you wash your hands, the sink. The sensor for the sink just goes off randomly when I'm in there in the restroom.
That's creepy.
And in other places it's happened too. Sensors will go off. Like I'm not nowhere near the sensor for like the restroom to flush or for the sink to throw water or whatever, for the water to work on the sink. And this happened to me when it first happened to me was in Culver City. I was working at this office that's across the street from one of the cemeteries that's out there, Holy Cross. I'm not sure which one it is, to be honest, but I was working late night, and I decided to go to the restroom. And then when I walk into the restroom, no water's running, and then all of a sudden, the water starts running. And it keeps running and just running. I'm like, what's going on? I even called the maintenance. I'm like, hey, something's going on with the sensor. The water is just flowing. And they're like, all right, well, we'll send somebody over there. And I just felt really creeped out because that place where the office was or is, it used to be part of the morgue or whatever, and used to house dead bodies because the cemetery was across the street. And so they would, use that place for those type of things. So I was just really creeped out. At night, I would have to work nights, and it was crazy. So that's the first time that something like that happened. And the other time, I'm a truck driver now, but I was doing training. I was with a mentor. We were driving together in the truck, and he was giving me pointers on what to do and whatnot. And he was like, "Hey, so any supernatural stuff happened to you in your life?" I'm like, "Oh," so I started telling him stuff too, And then the freaking the sensors will go off in the bathroom when I go to the restroom, And the funny thing is, and what really trips me out is, I'll be at the sink trying to wash my hands, and the sensor won't go off. Sometimes I have to move my hands a lot and find the angle where I can get the sensor to go off. But if I'm far away from it, it's just gonna go off. It's just gonna spray water, without me being next to it. But when I'm next to it, it has a hard time finding out that I'm there or figuring out that I'm trying to wash my hands. So weird things like that happen. So I just don't try to pay it any attention and don't give it any, any of my thoughts, like, oh, this is happening or what, this could be happening. Like, I'm just like, oh, well, it is what it is, but we're just going to keep on going.
When you had that thing happen to you, when you saw that thing that looked like a doctor that was drilling into you, did you ever notice any peculiar marks on your body?
No, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think to look for anything, which I could have probably found something because, like I said, I was being pressed down physically, like my body was imprinted into the bed.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, dude. I don't know. It sounds like it. I don't know. Could be an implant or something. I don't know.
Oh, an implant.
You're setting off stuff, some kind of electromagnetic fields going on or something. Or it could be just a spiritual attachment. You just got to break it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've gone to, different things to like different like mass sessions to, heal and break things. But yeah, nothing like that. Paralysis, but that was way early on. That was like I was in my teenage years when that happened. So that wasn't during the party days or whatever, that I was hanging out with those people. So that was really early on. But yeah, definitely. I try to, like I said, think on God and pray to God and try to be close to God and try to be, try to live my life closer to what, he wants us to, to be. It's hard, a lot of things are very hard. But you just try to do the best that you can and pray.
Yep. That's right. With these guys, with these people you're hanging out with, do they have gang affiliations?
No.
Okay.
No, not them, but their families. Yeah, well, they were living in Pacoima, so their families were definitely had gang ties. But themselves, they didn't. They weren't gangbangers themselves.
Okay. Yeah, because we know there's a lot of that Santeria going on out there with these gangs. We talked to Mando de la Vega when he lived out there.
Yeah.
Just kind of wondering about that.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah, like them themselves, no, but I know that they're siblings or whatever. Most of them, yeah, because it's out there in Pacoima, it's kind of crazy with the gangs.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's big out there, and you've had quite a life full of experiences, man. From Palm Springs to LA to out in the desert, and it's a lot of weird things happen, but. Just pray Psalm 91 over your life, man. We prayed over your life. The angels take charge over you.
Yeah.
Everything will be all right. You just gotta. You said just push forward. Don't give into them. They call it the loose. They live off fear.
Yeah.
And but yeah, dude. I mean, doing this podcast. I mean, I still get some weird things happening. But I expected it. Because the closer you get to God, the more the enemy is going to attack you. So that's one thing you can hang your hat on.
Yep, that is very true. They definitely don't want you to get closer to God. They don't want to lose their hold. They definitely attack more once they see that they're losing or they're there's a threat to their power. They're definitely not going to like that.
So. With that being said, my friend, do you have any more last words you'd like to say? We're coming up on the limit of this podcast. I really enjoyed it, but do you have any last words to say? Anything that you like to say before we head out here?
No. I think I just want to thank you guys. I really enjoy your show, and thank you for having me on. I felt kind of like, oh, you guys always have these experts, and I'm just, some guy, so.
Dude, there's no expert on this stuff, man. Any expert could just, at the end of the day, the expert has an opinion and a theory. That's all it is, man.
That's all it is, man.
So don't feel like you're this. Dude, look, bro, you seen who I am? I'm a guy with tattoos. I do boxing. People think I'm a grunt, and I kind of am a grunt, but I'm not an idiot either. And I don't need to have a PhD to be smart. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure.
just don't ever let all this nonsense make you feel that way. But anyways, man, thank you for telling us your story. It was a very personal story. Yeah, I could definitely hear in your voice some crazy stuff. You heard my story, so I can relate to some of it. But thank you very much for coming on the show. And just hang on for a second while I close out here. All right, buddy?
All right, for sure.
All righty. Let me see. All right. So everybody, thank you for listening to the show, The Sabbath at Midnight, here with me and my co-host Dominic and our guest. He told us a very, 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 very interesting and kind of scary stuff going on. Many different experiences, from witchcraft to demonic activity. I mean, the whole 9 yards is in there. But stay tuned for the next episode and have a good night or a good morning wherever you're at around the world.